Hey there, mattphilleo, working on these oval vignette portraits, and I wanted to talk to you today about one common issue that beginning artists often get wrong. And I catch myself on this too from time to time, but one simple fix, and I've discussed this before in other videos, but I'm going to point out something to you. Maybe you see it, maybe you don't. There's something in this portrait that's a little bit off. Of course, it's in progress. There's many things that are off, but one glaring thing. And I'm going to zero in and say it's right there. So this would be the too light eye syndrome. I'll just call it that. A lot of times artists tend to paint eyes very, very light. They paint them white because, of course, the white of eyes are white. But they aren't white in reality because we have many different shadows working and creating a much darker white or gray than what we actually think it looks like. So here in this portrait we have the shadow coming from her eyebrows, and then a strong shadow over this whole side of the face. Only half of the face, or even less than half of the face, is lit by sunlight. And so here the contrast is very dark. Somehow I had put a couple layers on it, but I had worked on the flesh tones so much that all of a sudden this started looking really light again. And so I'm going to go over that, and I want to pick the right kind of color for it. It is a little cooler in tone, so I'm going to take raw umber dark and ultramarine blue together. And we'll just mix it with a tiny bit of white to help it to cover better. It's just basically a gray. And then I'm going to paint that over on top of this white, and we'll fix that problem, or at least get it in the right direction. I might want to hit it in more than one layer just so that's a little bit smoother. And that does help. Now it still is going to have to get darker than that, but we've begun to push it into the right direction. And like I say, that is a very easy problem to have in your painting, but it's very quickly solved if you observe your reference photo and you notice that the white of the eye is not actually white at all. I'm going to darken this one a little bit as well. And the actual pupils of the eyes excuse me, have to get darker too. So we have some ultramarine blue that's got a bit of brown in it that's going to make it a little darker. Another common mistake I see is that when people paint blue eyes, they make it a very vivid blue, but oftentimes it's actually more of a gray. And so you don't want to overdo the blue either. Alright, so now that's darkened it up quite a bit. We'll have to again darken that white with some more layers, but that's going to have to wait for another layer after that dries. Something else I wanted to discuss was working on this black swimsuit. Believe it or not, I probably have 10 or more layers on this, something like that, and I have used ultramarine blue, raw umber dark. I've used some of the greenish color in the background, and it was amazing how I was working on the background, putting another level of green, kind of a yellowish green, on the trees and grass and stuff behind that fence. And I thought, hey, I'm trying to darken this. Let's use what I have on the brush, and then let's go over this and darken it a little bit more. And so I did that with a flat edge brush, and it was amazing. I really loved the contrast because previously I'd gone over this lighter layer, the highlight portion, excuse me, with a little bit of a reddish brown. And the contrast between that green and that red, although it's not straight green and red, it was just a tint of that within the brownish mixture, really had a nice effect. Because obviously the sunlit area is going to be warmer in tone, and so that was a really cool effect. And You can see all that depth within here. The camera probably won't pick it up, but with my eyes I can see all the depth here, and it really, really is nice. But there's more layers to go. And so just encourage you to try to play around with it when you're painting black. I mean, yeah, you could use flat black and it'd save you some time, but you're going to get a really interesting effect if you just layer on some colors and achieve black through those different colors. I have not used black in either of these portraits yet. I might, just for some tiny details, once I have the glazes in, but for the most part it won't have any actual black in it, and right now it doesn't at all. It's just a mixture of many different colors. And so I'm going to go over that with a little more. I'm thinking I'm going to hit it with a layer of ultramarine blue. We'll mix it with a little bit of raw umber dark as well, and just use this large round brush. This will cover a large area pretty quickly. Now that I have this many layers on, I'm not quite as concerned about it being super even of a coat. You can kind of use the side of the brush and make it work like a flat edge. Now then I have that dexterity of the point, so I can spread this across here, these smaller wrinkles. And let's get a little bit of gradation now and start to also work in some of these other areas, give some round form to her chest. So now I exceeded, if you notice, I went over the highlighted area just a little bit, and that's going to add some gradation, some shading, give a little form to the rest of the figure. And we're just going to continue to go over this layer. It's just a mixture of ultramarine blue and raw umber dark. All these other little interesting colors can shine through, add some depth to it. And I like that. I really think it's fun. Let's add just a little more brown to that. Warm it up just a bit. I'm going to add just a little bit to the edges. I'm going to exceed the boundaries a little. And then there's a secondary reflection right in between here that I want to get. It's not, maybe not a reflection, but it's kind of a shadow that I want to get in there. Just very faintly. We'll do that. Okay, now add a little bit of depth to this end as well. And let's see here. Just trying to get some clarity on these wrinkles. So I'm pulling up the corners of the drapery a bit. I'm gonna add the little wrinkle in between the two wrinkles, if you can see that. We'll just try to feather this edge out so it's got a little bit of a nuance. We can't do this all in one layer. This just takes many, many layers to achieve this gradation. And that might just do it for that layer. And I'll have to wait until I get to some other layers to add more, but it's definitely a start. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to stop off right here. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And you can subscribe to my channel here. And also check out realisticacrylic.com for more videos and tutorials like this. And share this with a friend. Let them know about this too. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and God bless. We'll talk to you soon.